There it is. There we go. Recording in progress. We are spaceships from outer space. That makes no sense. But hey, we like watching Serenity Wins. Hey, welcome to another edition of Serenity Wins. This is episode, oh my God, I forgot. What episode is this? I believe this is episode 21. Yes, episode 21. Right on. So I also got my folks on TikTok. I got Emily's in the house, and she's tapping her heart away. She's like, click, 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 click. I love that. The more you tell TikTok, click, 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 gotta watch this guy, click, click. He's a crazy fuck, but click, 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 click. It's all good. Yeah, I started taking my friend Joe's advice, and not that I'm swearing to swear because I'm on TikTok or I'm on YouTube, but just because, I guess I'm getting more and more comfortable. I think I'm being more and more intimate also in some of the things that I share. And you know what? This is how I am. And I'm not going to pretend to be someone else or something else just because I happen to be on the air. And I think everyone's going to respect me more for that. And I certainly will respect myself even more for doing such things. So having said that, let me get right into the intro. So today's episode, dun, 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 I've entitled it Placing Guides or Guardrails in Our Life. It's about having the courage to transform my life when I almost lost everything. Perhaps an inspiration to some, a warning to others. This weekly life experiment will help a co-dependent, be it alcohol, drugs, video games, food, or even sex, struggling to survive. But when Trump, Christopher Walken, Batman, or Vilnoosh, our savvy tech guy from Sri Lanka, oh, thank you very much, show up, we're sure to always keep it down to earth and fun on the podcast. And all bets are off. That imaginative drive that brought me to drinking for decades is now part of my recovering process. So why not invite Potus, Batman, and James Bond? Oh, James, on my podcast. Join us as we laugh and smile and ponder at life's mysteries, chuckle our failures, and rejoice our aha and our not so aha moments. What's our next podcast about? Crazy date, past life romantic encounter, an illicit, illegal, sexually charged proposal. Who knows? So keep on listening and share, because you might just help someone out who's suffering with this podcast. Hey, thanks for watching and sharing. So as usual, we start with the Serenity Prayer. Dear God, give me the serenity to accept the things that I can't change, the courage to change those that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference between both. That's that right there, the wisdom to understand the difference between both. As usual, this podcast is not sponsored, associated, or affiliated with any official nonprofit organization such as Alcoholics Anonymous. Now sponsored by Crusoe, CRUSOE.ca. With the promo code SWD10, you'll get a 10% discount on all your online shopping for Canadian shoppers, only. And this week, I don't have such an artist of the week or something that happened to me that made me go, oh, I got to put these guys in the next row. Yeah, I don't really have anything for that. So I'm going to get right into today's episode. And along the way, I've been feeling a little weird these last few days, and I know exactly why it is. And I had a chance to talk with my sponsor yesterday, and he said, look, man, it's normal. You're literally changing your entire life. Because when you go from the speed, hi, Tiff. When you go from the speed of being an alcoholic to the speed of being a recovering alcoholic, and you're sober, and now it's been 2 years, you're really going through some major transformations. And that's what I've been feeling this week. And although I already had the topic subject in mind, it really fits in very well with today. This topic was actually an idea that I had a few weeks ago, because when I was driving back from a concert, thanks, man. You too, Tiff. Thanks for popping in. I really appreciate that. When I was driving back from, hello, brother, I'm from Somalia. Do you have... I don't know why you asked that question, and I don't even know how I should answer that. He asked me, do I have a circumcision because he's from Somalia? I don't know what the relationship is between Somalia and circumcision, but yeah, what are you going to do? So, and it's funny he mentioned circumcisions because it's kind of related to what I'm about to say. So I'm coming back from seeing a show, Saturday night. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a good show. And as I'm driving, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after my famous crazy date, right? You remember the crazy date that I had with the girl kind of dancing and plopping and banging her head on the floor, and well, that crazy date. So it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that. And as I'm driving back, I see this silhouette kind of running in the middle of the night. Well, it wasn't the middle. It was probably like around 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Afternoon. What you mean is, it's not 1 o'clock in the morning. It's 1 o'clock in the a.m. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Thanks. So, and she kind of looks like the girl. I was going to say her name, but I don't want to say her name just because today I had a really, I don't want to say a traumatic event. Man, you're going all over the place. You're talking about your event, then you're talking about today. Make up your mind. Where are you going with this? Today we had a really good person sharing, and at one point she literally lost the anonymous part, and she was talking about a meeting that she went to in the past. Let's call her Shirley for sake's argument. So Shirley was talking about her emotions, her feelings, how she's feeling, and then she mentioned how she went to a particular meeting, and she did everything but almost describe the meeting, like everyone knows which meeting that was. And she also named a member. And that member who came, he opened up his heart, and he really opened up his heart, and we were there for him. And so for her to mention his name, opening up his heart at that moment, was clearly it was a boo-boo. I admit it was a boo-boo. Call it any way you want. It's a boo-boo. It's a boo-boo. And I don't know how she's I hope she makes amends to the other member, because it was really like you go to a meeting and you share, because that's what part of going to a meeting is, especially when you go to a discussion meeting and you go there to share, not necessarily because you're looking for answers, but in the process, we do get answers. And being anonymous is very important. So if someone breaks that, it kind of, who knows? Maybe this person won't show up anymore to these meetings because he's like, wow, I feel like I've been backstabbed. And it's not every member, it's just one. And look, it was most likely a mistake, an oversight. I don't know. She was on the nerves. She was sharing. She was at the conference table, with a microphone and everything. And she didn't realize what she was doing. It's still, obviously everyone's going to forgive her for it. It was a serious mistake. Much more than if I happen to do the welcoming committee and I forget to mention the person's name. And I felt bad when that happened, so I went back to the microphone and said, by the way, that was Richard or whatever his name was. So when you do hear me talking on my podcast and you hear names, I want you to know one thing. Number one, if I use a name, it might be fictitious. I might have made it up. I might have twisted the name. I'm certainly sure that I asked the person even beforehand, saying, hey, is it all right if I twist your name or if I mentioned you, whatever? Like Lewis. Lewis knows. Like, I don't know if he listens to my podcast, and he might not. But if one day he hears about it and he hears Lewis, one, he'll know it's him. And two would be like, yeah, I remember that. I gave him permission a long time ago for that. So, you know, and obviously I was talking last week about my new sponsoree because I'm now a sponsor. Je suis un parrain. I'm a godfather now. And I'll use the name Mr. K. And he's fully aware of it. And we were joking about it today. So, Mr. K, shout out to you. Thanks for watching. And so when I use names, I have either A, the person's permission, or B, I've changed the names around. And to me, that's important. So you'll never hear me talking and using a name that I haven't had some sort of confirmation by the person directly. You know, especially if someone has like a funny name like Wundergustabun. You know, how many Wundergustabun would you know? And if I said, yeah, I remember the other day I was talking to Wundergustabun. And you'd be like, hey, man, I know Wundergustabun. Me and him, we had a beer. Well, we didn't have a beer. We actually, you had a beer with Wundergustabun? Oh, you know what that means. It was a non-alcoholic beer. Yeah, but still, you had a, Okay, so first of all, Wundergustabun does not exist. I just want you to understand that. And that's the situation. So the crazy date, I don't believe I gave her name. I don't want to call her crazy, but, you know. And so this silhouette that looks like her, right? We're going back to the story now. Runs up because I turn the corner and I slow down because I'm thinking it's her. I'm like thinking, is this like a late night or whatever? You know, I don't know. I know that I told her that, look, as long as she's like crazy, well, not crazy, but yeah, crazy. As long as she's like that, I am not dealing with that. But when I saw her, I guess I had been, you know, to the concert. I'm in the mood. I'm down. I slow down. As I slow down, I see the silhouette from behind running towards the truck. And I could see in my side mirror, this person is not who I think this is. And as she's getting closer, I'm like, who the hell is this? But I'm not sure because, you know, it's nighttime outside and there's some light reflections in the mirror. But I'm like, Finally, she just kind of opens the door and she pops in and sits down, boop, right next to me. And she goes, hi. And I look at her and I say, hey, you're not, just for the sake of argument, you're not Jessica. And she looks at me and she goes, no, I'm better. That's literally what she says. She goes, I'm better. And I'm like, I'm perplexed. I literally am perplexed. I'm like, how do I deal with this right now? So she's like, what are you doing, baby? And I'm like, what? I go from one crazy date and then I literally end up with this girl jumping in the truck. And I'm like, so I can see, like, obviously I can see in her eyes, this girl is like fried. She's not there. I don't know if she's drunk. I don't know if she's on whatever, the powder, whatever it is, I can see. And I'm like, look, I think you got the wrong, were you going somewhere? And I said, well, where do you live? Because I'm thinking maybe she was like looking for a ride to get back home. And she says like Morin Heights. I'm like, oh, I ain't going to Morin Heights. And this is, of course, I wasn't as much in Communicado back then with JD. And it was like going to do my good action, comme on dit en français, ma BA. I was like, look, I mean, I ain't driving you. Ha ha, you're so funny. Thanks. I don't know if I'm funny, but here I am. Thanks for watching. Hey man, tap that pop. So Mika, hey Papa, yo Papa, what up? So I say, well, look, were you going to a bar in the area, whatever? I can drive you there if you want. And she's like, no, we can just hang out in the truck. We can just hang out in the truck, is what she says. Now, okay, this woman is fried-ish. I can see she's not all there, but she's still there. And I can tell that she has a pretty face. She has a pretty face, a bit beat up by, obviously, all the consummation of drugs and all that stuff. But, but she smells like really, she reeks. She reeks like, I don't know how to describe it. I think urine is the one word that comes in. She smells like, and I'm thinking, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but maybe I can offer her a shower. I don't know. So I'm sensing that there's kind of this weird moment happening, and I'm like, okay, number one, I need to fix this ASAP, and number two, I need to have alibis. I need to have an alibi. I need to have witnesses. I need something. I can't be alone in the truck with this girl because if she flips, and then next thing you know, I'm like, but I was just driving back from the old orchard seeing a great show and like, yeah, but this is what she says. I'm like, yeah, but, so I'm thinking, okay, what do I do? So right away, we're like right next to a parking lot, lots of lights, lots of, it's behind the movie theater. So I'm like, okay, there's lots of lights there. We can just hang there until she figures out what she wants. Hey, thanks for the rose on TikTok. Yes, I appreciate that. Hey, by the way, when I'm not looking at TikTok, it's not because I'm not interested. It's because I'm talking to there, but you're there. But maybe if I move the camera closer, because no, it's like I'm there. Okay, maybe I'll try to move the camera closer. Oh no, now you're just fucked everything up. Oh. All right, does that work? Does that work? Is everyone like happy now? They're like, yeah, we're in the loop now. It's like you're talking to us. All right. Yeah, okay. All right, hold on. The story gets even better. It gets better. It fucking gets better. Only crazy shit like this could happen to me. I honestly, I don't know what I did to deserve crazy stuff like that, but where's my thing, Jake? Man. There you go. You have to fool around, and now you're like... All right, people on YouTube watching right now or listening, I was just like, if you hear my vest was hitting the thing because I'm trying to put. Oh, there we go. People on TikTok there. Okay, all right. Trying to work on my Matthew McConaughey. All right. I didn't say I was very good at it, but if you do an impersonation, it's very important that you keep it real. You make sure. You don't go hey all over the place. You bring it inside. All right, Christopher, I'll keep that in mind. So, hold on a second. I'm losing my train of thought. So, and thank goodness I parked because at one point she's in the truck and she's like, you want to have a good time? And I'm like, and you know what? I got to say, it would have been so, mis à part la grande odeur d'urine, right? The smell of whatever, the not washing in a few, probably not hours, but days. I could have easily accepted this offer. It was like nobody knew about it. No one was aware. Like there was no one. I could have just taken a truck and said, yeah, baby, we're going to go for a ride. But then there was a part of me that was like, well, hold on a second. First of all, it's really smelling. Like I was even afraid that my truck would have the stench even after she left. But then there was also this tremendous amount of self-respect that just said, you know what? Number one, even if she's fully into it, she's clearly not entirely there. So is it kind of taking advantage of the situation? And I knew exactly why she was doing it. She literally said, well, for a little something. So I stopped her right away and I said, first of all, I don't pay for sex. Like this is not who I am. I don't pay for sex. And I want to be authentic because fuck, you know what? This is what this show's all about. Many, I think I was a young teenager. My friend and I, who he shall remain anonymous, his parents were off. They took off on the weekends to go up north somewhere, and he would stay. He would say, "Oh, I got to study, right? I got to study, so I'm going to stay home." And so one night, we got like our little fucking teenage home runs kicking all around, and he's like, "Well, what do we do?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Let's call 2 escorts." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man, let's do that." I'm like, "No, we." And it was like, and he did, and it was awkward. I mean, I was like, just like, I don't remember if I actually went very far with the girl or whatever. But that was one time. And yes, there was a second time, a few years after that, not a lot of years after that, but a good, I was probably in my I was either in my late teens, like maybe 19, maybe I was in my early 20s. And one day I'm walking back home, drunk as fuck. Because, that's what we do. You go and you drink, you go somewhere in your bar, and it happened to be downtown. 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 If you're looking for a prostitute, just go downtown. They'll charge you not very much, and you can use the... Anyway, so, and I stopped. I literally just fucking, I saw her. I said, "What?" And then she said, and I think the room upstairs was like $10 or something for like, it wasn't even per hour. It was just like, and yeah, there you go. And that was like fucking a few decades ago anyways. And so fast forward, 2 decades-ish later, here I am in the truck with this lady. And she says, "But baby, I'm going to give you a good time." And she's fucking serious. Like, she's like, and I'm like, no. And I'm very serious at this time because I'm like, well, hold on a second. I don't want any misunderstanding. I don't want any, and it would have been so easy. Now, if she would have been smelling better, would it been more challenging for me to say no? Possibly. I don't know. Keep in mind, I've not been with a woman now for a while. And again, I'm being genuine. I'm saying on the fucking microphone. I'm saying here on this podcast. You know what? Because that's what fucking life is all about. And if you happen to be an alcoholic and you are always drunk and always fucking meeting women, which I was. Okay, always is a strong word, but you're like, hey, and you're just like, don't give a fuck, and you're like, what is them? And then you're like, come by my place, and then we're gonna sing karaoke. Yeah, you're gonna sing into my microphone, But now that I'm sober, I broke up about 7 months ago with my girlfriend, and this was the first time that I'm sober. So I don't have the same mechanisms that I used to have. So going off to the bar to hook up with a chick, it's not programmed anymore. It's like, if she's too drunk, I'm turned off. I'm like, I'm fucking taking advantage of this. Or I'm like, fuck, what kind of self-respect person would, And so, and then I used to meet women in bars, and now I don't, I only go there to sing, but the people, they sing there, they're too fucking smashed. I can't, and now I know them all. They're like regular fucking. So all this to say that I don't know where to meet women. I don't. And maybe if you're an alcoholic, maybe you're struggling with this too. And you know what? If you are, write into the comments. If we can figure it out together, we will. You happen to be on TikTok and you're like, I don't know how to meet, a lot of people use the applications. I don't know how to use the applications. I guess on the application, I have a profile. And I guess people say, yeah, he's fucking bad. What the fuck is wrong with him? Because, and then I hear people who just meet fucking like this, like I have my friend, he just told me, he's like, yeah, I'm talking with 2 girls and both of them want to come and visit me. I'm like, what? How the fuck does that happen? Don't get me wrong. He's extremely intelligent man, very interesting, has quite a fascinating past, and you know, so I'm all for that. I just don't know how it's done. I don't know how to do it. So this opportunity, you know, with Mrs. Pickup would have been so easy for me, but I was like, now here's the kicker. Here's the place where it gets really fucking weird. Are you listening? People on YouTube, are you listening? This one's out for you, Mr. K, right? Because he's like, yeah, I want to hear this story. And you, Odie, you're going to love this part. So we're sitting in the truck. Maybe like 2-3 minutes have gone by, and I'm losing patience here. I'm like, okay, so clearly she's not going to go back home to Morin Heights. I don't have to drive her there, but she's not looking to go to a bar. And then she says, oh, we can have a good time. Oh, we can have a good time. We're here for a long time. Not a long time. So have a good time. She says, we can have a good time. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm not. And she's like, oh, come on. And she says, you won't regret it. And then she says, look. And she reaches down to where her belly button is, and she starts to lift her fucking shirt. Ah! She's about to show me her boob. She's literally lifting her shirt. Now, at this point, I have several options. Option number one is I do nothing and I just kind of play, well, I happen to be there and I happen to see them and then, you know. But while option number one is an option, I'm also thinking, yeah, but this option number one could lead down the road to fucking anything. Like she could just turn on me and fucking have a fucking drug attack or whatever and just fucking say, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. You know, as she says, come and touch my breast. Because that's what she literally said. She goes, go ahead, you know, touch them. So she's got her shirt up like this. At that point, I'm like turned like sideways. I'm like, no. And I'm like, okay, now you got to get out of the truck. And I think I even have the reflex to open the door and I get out of my truck. So I have my truck. The door is half open. I'm standing there. I'm not even looking at her. I know I'm fucking tempted to look at those tits because they probably were spectacular. But I'm like, I got too much self-respect. JD up there is watching me. He's like, yo, man, I'm throwing you a test. Are you going to pass it? Or are you going to fail it? And so she's still in the truck with her shirt up, you know, up to here. And I don't know where the strength comes, but I have the strength to not even turn my head, not even sneak a peek, because in my mind, this is a red flag. This is a dangerous zone. I'm dealing with a person that's very high right now, who's literally willing to prostitute herself just to get a bit more of a bump. So who knows where she's at mentally stable and all that. So I'm in the truck. I'm like, okay, get out of my truck, please. And she's like, but baby. And I had to repeat it several times. It's like, no, get the fuck out of my truck now, please. She's like, yeah. I said, no, just get out of the truck. And finally she fucking puts her shirt down, I imagine, because I guess she didn't go out of the truck with her shirt up. And then she closes the door. I get in the truck. The window's down because I think she had lowered the window. And my truck window, I can't raise it from my seat. It's stupid, but my truck needs a bit of love. And so she comes up to her, but, well, would you have like a 20 or something? You know, she was asking for 50. Yeah. That was her original offer. Like, for $50, I can give you. I'm like, no. And then she's like, well, would you have 20? And of course, I don't remember if I had 20, but even if I did, I wouldn't have given it to her because I knew exactly where that was going. It was going through her nostril or whatever in her veins. I don't know where or what, but I know that I had nothing. I wanted nothing to do with that. And so she walked away and I drove off back to my place, which oddly enough, was like, no, that's right, because because of the one way, I had to go around. Right, because I was like literally 2 minutes away from my house. So she could have been waiting for me on the corner when I came back, but she wasn't. So, and the moral of the story is, oh, there's no moral. It's just a funny story that I wanted to share. And the reason why I thought of the guardrails, our guides and our guardrails as a subject matter when this happened was because something within me was guarding. I had my guardrails. I was able to foresee possible scenarios that didn't work out well. She could have flipped out. Next thing you know, I got the SQ and, asking me questions. And you all know how I feel about the SQ. Shout out to the SQ. Yeah. I'm getting over it. I realized that when I lost patience and it cost me a lot of money, that was on me. And the last thing I would have wanted was to have another interview with fucking police officers and then probably would have said, yeah, we can tell that she's high and everything. But still, she did say, and it's our job too, so. And for that reason, I was like, that was one of the things. But the other thing too was, obviously, when you smell someone and you go, wow, they smell really good, and I really want to get closer to this person. Well, what's the opposite? She was the opposite. She was definitely the opposite. I don't know what she was wearing. I don't know how long she had been in those clothes or why she smelled like that. If she was homeless. Now, if I would have seen her later on, maybe not that evening, but I think our paths did cross, like from a distance. I don't know if she recognized me, but I recognized her. But if I was to meet her again, and maybe not the exact same situation, but a situation where we could talk, I'd say, look, I don't remember me. I'm certainly still uninterested in your offers, but can I bring you? Can we go eat? Would you like to go eat? Can we go eat? Or and there was a part of me that was saying maybe I could even just get her to clean herself, like get clean, take a shower, and I'll give her some clothes. I don't know. And it's not my job. I'm not a savior or anything, but that's what's going through my mind. If or when I see her again, because it's a small village, and the guardrails. So I had those guardrails up, and I could, it would have been so easy to just stay in the truck and say, really? Well, let me turn around. Wow. And then she literally she wanted to grab my hand. She's like, come on, feel them. And I'm like, I would have felt them, and I would have, whoa, 7 months since I've been with a pair of those. And even then, they weren't that fantastic. I mean, they were nice, but they weren't fantastic. Not that hurt. I mean, I never even saw them, but so easy. I could have just said, hey, man, here, let's go. But I was like, no. And one of the things that came about to me in terms of guardrails is we do have guardrails. And sometimes we don't realize them, but I've just talked about one in particular. What do you mean you got one guardrail? All right, Batman's back. Yes, I am. All right. Well, our mind. Hey, Frank's in the house. Whoa, yeah. How's it going, Frank? Thanks for the heart. For those of you on YouTube, my friend Frank is on TikTok. And so I'm saying, hello, Frank. Thanks for the rose, man. Appreciate it. Frank's also helping me. Like, he's like, you want to put your show on Spotify? You got it. And he doesn't talk like this, by the way. So I know you don't talk like this, Frank. I'm just saying. So he's also helping me put the show on Spotify. So I'm kind of very slow because I got to like do some typing, and I got to write to them and say, by the way, I have a podcast. So our mind is the first guardrail. No, I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. I used to, but I don't do that. I ain't a clown. What do you mean funny? Funny, ha ha. What do you mean funny? I ain't no clown, but and the mind. And I think that my first guardrail was my mind because I was able to process everything that was going on at that point in time. Like, okay, if I did do that, what could happen? Not it's going to happen, but what could happen? And if I did this, or even if I did nothing, if I did nothing now and just sat in the truck and did nothing, what could happen? So we do have our guides and our guard. And of course, I also look up there, I say up there because we're so used to, but it's like all over us, right? It's everywhere, right? The definition is unimportant. But JD was with me too because he gave me the strength. He gave me the strength to walk away from a pair of boobs. And he said, nope. So our mind. We do have also other guardrails. And this is what also I want to touch upon. Our bodies. If you want a great guardrail, a great guide, your body is it's there. You want the best possible, at least the top two, the mind and the body. And yet, how many times did I say to myself, because I woke up with my head splitting in two, and I didn't take any aspirins, I don't take aspirins, and just and thinking, I'm not gonna drink anymore. And then by 4:30 in the afternoon rolls in, maybe just a beer. And then, the circle continues. And I'm like, I'm not going to drink for a week. I'm not going to drink for. Well, that feeling that we feel inside of us when we're in that state, that's our guide rail. Our guard rail is saying, hey, I'm guarding you right now. You're hitting the wall. Maybe you should consider stopping. But we don't, right? When we eat sugar, when I eat sugar, I'm talking about artificial sugar, processed, refined white sugar. What do you mean white? You got something against black sugar? First of all, black sugar doesn't exist. You could call licorice black sugar, but it's not. But you know what I'm saying? Brown sugar, right? Which is another definition altogether. The point is, when we do consume sugar, our bodies are affected. And I know because I rarely take some, but when I do, I feel it the next day. Now, because I take it so seldomly, I'm able to realize the next day, oh, my joints they're not as oily as they are normally. My joints are not ninja-like. I'm not, wah! Bah, 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 bah. I just hit my elbow on the chair. Did you guys hear that? That's pretty funny. Aïe, ça fait un peu mal, ça. So, and I listen to people talking about all these diseases that are out there and these cancers and this and the diabetes and yet I walk into a grocery store, a supermarket, and I see all the aisles are filled with sugar. It's like if I finish my shift and I'm like, okay, for me it's like the weekend, right? So that used to be like the beer mentality where like, okay, say I finish my shift on Thursday and I'm like, okay, I'm really thirsty now. I stop at the IGA, the big store, the big store where you get all the, and I'm in the juice section, right? It's juice. There's supposed to be juices, regular juices you can drink. And I'm reading the ingredients of all the juices there, and especially the ones they're really flashy, healthy, green. Green is good for you, healthy, light. Even the ones that say organic. But when I turn the box or the bottle around and I start to read it, I start to get all these ingredients that I'm like, this is not natural. I can't eat this. This is why people are falling sick. But, maybe you should not take it so personal. It's just the way it is. Accept and believe. I'm just saying. I know what you're just saying, but no. So the laziness of the mind will make it that people will still drink that, even though they're fully aware, right? Everyone's fully aware. Everyone's fully aware that soda pop is terrible for the body. Everyone's fully aware that we're not even supposed to be drinking milk. Everyone's fully aware of all this, yet they continue. So my remedy to this the other day, and it was delicious. I said, you know what? I'm going to get myself some watermelon. And I got myself a nice half piece of watermelon. And then I went to the meeting beforehand and I cut myself some pieces. It was juicy. It was excellent. It was like, wow. But had I chosen any one of those bottles, and there's like all of them, they're like protein added and vitamin and added and organic, like literally all of them I could not drink for the simple reason that they all had some form of processing involved. Sulfites were involved. I don't know what sorbat potassium was involved. Remember sorbat potassium? I don't know if you remember this a few episodes ago. Sorbat potassium. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about sorbat. I'm looking for my page. I hope I find it. There we go. Sorbat potassium. Bam. TikTok people. Sorbat potassium. Bam. Right? Anyway, so I had myself some watermelon. It was delicious. I'm very glad I did that. And from now on, I'm going to do that. Like when I'm thirsty after work, just get a piece of watermelon. I don't know when the seasons are for the watermelon. I don't even know if it was organic watermelon, but it was already a good watermelon. So I'm thinking, you know. So our bodies are definitely a major guardrails. Like if you start to look down and you start to not see your wee anymore, or you can't, that's a sign. That's a sign. It's a sign. Do something about it. Don't just fucking let it go. Don't just like, you know what? People say as you get older, you get flabbier and whatever. It's like, whatever. I honestly, I don't care. I do fucking care, and I don't tell anybody, so I'm just going to have a fucking beer and drink my fucking emotions off. Or I'm going to go and get myself a slice of McCain pie. Chocolate marble. Because in the end, I don't fucking care, but I do care. But I don't. So listen to your guardrail, which is your body. Right? So we got two guardrails. We got our mind, when we have crazy women that jump in our truck that want to show us their boobs, and we're goddamn tempted, but we also know JD's like, no, this is a test. And then we have, our bodies. How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Do you feel like CACA, right? www.caca, like caca, 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 caca. Wasn't that a Will Ferrell skit? Caca, caca. I don't know. So, listening to our body. And if you're in a recovering state right now, you're doing the 12 steps. Well, listening to your body is part of that, right? We admit in step number 10, as soon as we see there's an imperfection, a deficiency in us, we correct it, we admit it. Étape numéro 10, nous avons admis nos torts dès que nous en sommes aperçus. Well, that's what it's all about. So if we realize that our body isn't feeling that well, then we need to admit it and address the situation as soon as possible. So that's 2, right? But there's a third one also. And that I was fortunate enough yesterday. It's the people we're with, our friends, the people who know us, the people who care about us. Those people are also part of our guardrails. So if you happen to be an eagle and you're flying you're flying, but you don't see any other eagles, yet you see a whole bunch of pigeons around you, odds are you might be flying at a lower altitude than you're supposed to. And I met my sponsor yesterday, and, I'm going to keep it real. I've been having a challenging time this last week, maybe the last 2 weeks. And the reason is I'm going through some major changes, right? And anyone who's in the program, if you meet anyone and they tell you, oh, yeah, man, it's a piece of cake. Once you stop drinking, you'll see your life is going to change overnight and you're going to be really happy and you're going to be on the pink cloud and it's going to last forever. Not quite. I would say it's far from being a pink cloud burst situation. I never felt the pink cloud. I got into the program and I just do what needs to be done, and I'm getting more and more involved. However, because my life is changing, my way of thinking is changing, all the reference points that I had before, such as my habits, my where I'd hang out, even friends, it's all gone. And I don't slow down to be dramatic. It's a fact. I didn't slow down, just whispered. It's all gone. And so I find myself in some very profound solitude. Is it solace or solitude? That's a good word. Should look that up. Now, I'm not depressed. I'm not down. I'm aware of the solitude. And I also accept it. I don't try to distract myself and reject it and go, oh, I can't feel like this right now. I'm just aware, because I also know that it's outside that our comfort zone that we grow. So right now, if I'm outside of my comfort zone because I'm feeling this solitude, I know that there's going to be an expansion sometime in the near future. What kind and how, I don't know. I'm leaving that up to JD. I'm like, yo, JD, you take care of that. It doesn't mean that sometimes, especially it happens usually on Thursdays. Like Thursdays, when my weekend kind of starts, because I work with my client 3 days a week. One of my clients, anyway. And that's the day where I'm like, for me, it feels like a Friday. It's like, hey, man, I should call a friend and we should go out and maybe have a bite and grab a beer, not a beer, but, and see how the habits kind of slip in. Grab a coffee on a terrace or something. Do the terrace time without, whatever. And I have nobody to call. It's like that. Hey, salut, Frank. You be well. Thanks for watching in. And yeah, because the people that I used to know are no longer, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it is challenging. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have any friends or I don't have anybody, because that's clearly not the case. I mean, obviously I have Frank, and we do meet each other like once a week or so. And we're getting to know each other. Like even the other day, he said, you know what? Not many people get to see this. And, so obviously I know that we're getting to know each other, but we're still like, but I know also that on the Thursday night, he's not going to move because that's just how he is, which is okay. I respect that. So that whole kind of having, kind of a buddy to hang out with and, do things with, I don't have that. I'm not really sure if I really had that before, but I probably had some more sense of that presence somehow. Maybe it's just because I'd be drinking and therefore I'd be going out and just meeting people, right? No one would actually get in touch with me, but I would eventually meet up with people, right? And now I have no one to eventually meet up because I have no plans of going to a bar. I have no plans of going out and just having a beer or hanging out. And so when I say that one of our guardrails is the people that we're with, yesterday when my sponsor came, I shared all of this with him. And he just looked at me and said, damn. No, he didn't say damn, but he just said, it's normal. You're going through an entire change. You are changing your lifestyle. It's normal. And as soon as he said that, I went like, oh, it's normal. And I didn't realize how much my life was changing. I mean, obviously, 7 months ago, I had a girlfriend. I kind of lived in the house with people and this and that, blah, blah, blah. But now here I am. I got my small pad, and I'm getting more and more involved, implicated in the fellowship, doing tasks and whatnot. But I guess it didn't really dawn on me how much I am changing, and everything around me is kind of changing. And so right now, without my points of references, I feel a little lost. So every now and then, it's not that I get sad. I just get this feeling of what's the feeling? Well, how can I describe it? I don't want to call it emptiness, because it's not emptiness like I used to feel before, where I really felt like empty. It's more of that nothing is taking place right now. Nothing is happening. What's next? What's next? What's the next big adventure? And well, you know what? There is a bit of sadness. There is a bit of sadness, because I think that part of my heart is also involved in this, right? So, you want to be with people, and yet you have nobody to be with, so your heart kind of feels it. Is it a form of rejection? I don't think it's a form of rejection, because it's not like anyone's rejecting me. I'm just simply saying I have to go through this. And I can't force myself, because that's something that I used to do in the past. Coming from a disruptive, dysfunctional family, I would force myself onto people, saying, hey, let's be friends right away, because you know what? I have no family, so clearly I have to be friends with you, because... And maybe that's also the difference these days, is I'm not in that sense of wanting to push myself onto someone. I'm not projecting myself into a friendly relationship, a buddy-buddy relationship, simply because I know that in the past when I do that, it was my insecurity. It was complete insecurity that brought me to become friends with pretty much everyone, even though sometimes it was not a good thing. Hey, Nathan, welcome. I forgot to say hello to people on TikTok. So the solution is to accept the situation, so there's less friction, and eventually it'll just pass. And I believe even Carl Jung talked about that. He said when you accept the situation rather than trying to stop it, it'll flow through a lot quicker, and then you move on to the next movement. And I believe that. So right now, despite the fact, I mean, hey, you know what? Technically speaking, you guys listening to me are my imaginary friends, right? Mr. K, Odie, O, Frank. Who else is listening to me? I got a whole bunch of people listening to me. Shout out to them. And all your comments, by the way, I really appreciate all your comments. So, yeah, and I think that that's kind of what this mission is about. Serenity Wins is about helping us find and define what our serenity is. And if we see that we're lacking somewhere, we need to balance that. Therefore, I know that I'm lacking in friends. I know that I'm lacking in friendship. But that's on me, because I never knew how to make friends. I was either in survival mode, which like I need friends, or I was either in stay the fuck away from me, right? I had that reaction. And I recently had a small event, even just last night, where I told someone, very dear, without using words, that I felt disrespected. And she may not have realized the disrespect that she had kind of done to me several times. I think sometimes people mistake kindness for weakness. And I think that that's kind of what happened. And so last night, as I'm leaving and she's kind of leaning in, I don't know if she's going for the kiss or not. I just stopped and I said, no. And I just said, and she looks at me, she goes, what? What's going on? And I didn't say anything. I just walked away. And I'm happy. I'm proud of myself for having done that, because It was my self-respect. Just like I walked away from a girl with a big pair of boobs in my pickup truck. Obviously, smells better than urine. I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying that feeling of I respect myself. And if a person is unable to understand what respect is, if they're not even able to sit down and have a definition, of what the respect is, and they just kind of take me for granted, well, that's far from being the type of friendship that I want. I deserve better. I went to a Lola party, right? Remember Lola 45, where I was like kind of out of my zone? Well, there was a bracelet that they had, and I haven't been putting it on in the last few days, but it says, tu le mérites. You merit it. You deserve it. So I deserve good friendships. And if they take longer to build, I'm okay with that. And just like, even O asked me, she said, well, if I stop drinking, I'm going to lose all my friends. I'm going to lose all my points of references. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. But hey, you only have yourself to live with. This one goes out to you, Mr. K. We only have ourselves to live with. So yeah, maybe sometimes we do have to let go of certain people. And sometimes it could be friends, it could be barflies, and it could even be our girlfriends. It could even be the boy. It could even be the close relationship, because they're not for us anymore. Because we are transforming. We're no longer that same. We are no longer in a desperate losing situation. We now learn to self-respect ourselves, because we understand that when we ran to that bottle, when we went to the bar, when we ordered scotch over scotch, or Lafayette over Jameson, over Jack Daniels, honey, who the hell thought about that? Jack Daniels, and that was like the worst. I can't even think about that. When we go into that, we're just fucking miserable and sad, and we don't even know it. But now that we know it, we can face it, and we're allowed to respect ourselves. We're allowed to say, no, I'm walking away now, because I deserve better. And so do you. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, it means that I didn't even talk about our sponsor, so I'm going to talk about it. Oh, I did mention that at the first, yeah. So you know what? Let's get into a bit of the technical stuff before we close the show, because we've already spoken for about an hour. Who would have thought? Oh, as I'm reading my cue sheet, I realized there's another form of guardrails, guides, if you want to call them. And, some people will say, oh, that's a little esoteric, but I do believe in them. And those are the signs. What the signs are and how you interpret that, that's up to you. But those signs are there for a purpose. So whenever you feel something, that's probably your intuition that's talking to you. And maybe there's a sign there that you're seeing and going, and you don't want to admit it. You're like, I don't want to admit it. Oh, it's a coincidence. She was talking to me, and then she turned her head and just walked away without saying anything. But that's a coincidence. All right, so that happened once, and then the second time, and then the third time, you're gonna go, wait a minute. This is far from being coincidence. This is like, it's like, hey, and then she's like. And it's like, to me, it's completely disrespectful. Or someone, talks to you or chats to you. I know the new, I don't even want to call them the new generation, but the new mindset is like, well, you know what? Respecting people over messaging doesn't really count. It's just messenger. It doesn't matter. If someone writes to you, you don't have to respond for a week. It doesn't really matter. But it does. It does because it's part of our culture. It's how we communicate, talk. It's how we mingle. That's why it counts. Hey ho, it's not what it means. I'm working on Christopher Walken when he's like, Hey ho! Wow, it's crazy. In my head. I mean, I do, but so yeah, and that's the signs, because sometimes our intuition is getting something, but we're not able to put the exact words on it. So listen to the signs. So, having said the signs, I want to talk about one of the step before we close the show, because that's part of what we do, because maybe someone's out there on TikTok and they're like, maybe I have a drinking problem. What are the steps? I'm interested. Or maybe someone on YouTube is saying, I got to do the puzzle on TikTok. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, done. Bam. Or maybe someone on YouTube is like watching, I want the 12 steps. What are the 12 steps? And it's funny because I don't know if it's because I watched a lot of movies when I was younger, but somehow, without even knowing what the 12 steps were before I walked in, I kind of had an idea of what it was. I kind of had an idea of what a sponsor is. And I was talking yesterday with someone who's curious. Let's put it like that. He's curious. And I shared with him how, I met my sponsor and how he told me that I became a sponsor. Yeah, I told him how I became a sponsor, and I was, happy about that, proud about that. And he said, well, what's a sponsor? And I'm like, oh, right. Not everyone knows. So that's why I decided to read one of the 12 steps in the 12-step program on the show. So I want to share with you step number 11, which says, through prayer and meditation, we improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him or her or whatever, In French, on dit, nous améliorons notre contact avec Dieu. Par la prière et la méditation, nous améliorons notre contact avec Dieu tel que nous le concevons, as we conceive Him, right? Lui demandant, because here it says praying only for knowledge. So asking Him only for knowledge of His will and for us, His will for us, and the power to carry that out, right? Nous lui demandons seulement de prier à connaître sa volonté à notre égard et de nous donner la force, right, to give us the strength to do it. And I think that's very important. As I mentioned maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, I only started praying, I think it was 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks. Anyways, if you go back and you listen to some episodes, you're going to hear me not talking about praying. And then suddenly you're going to hear me saying, I talk about prayer. Pray this, pray that. I pray the Lord. So, that's when I started praying. So let's say about maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks, whatever. I know in September I'll be able to say, about a month ago I started praying. And meditating, though, I've been doing for many years. And also talking with my sponsor, he mentioned to me, he said, well, one thing that helps is meditation. And I was like, I agree. And I had this tendency to do maybe a meditation once a week, but it'd be like a really long meditation because I really like to really disconnect. I find that I need to have that 1 hour meditation, and not with like earphones in my head with sounds and someone going, no, really just sitting down and just focusing on my breath and then when a thought pops up, right. But today I said, you know what? I'm going to do another, because I woke up really early. And I said, you know what? It's Sunday. I only have the welcoming committee at 10 o'clock. So I did another long meditation. And although I woke up or I released myself from the meditation before my alarm, I had still done a good hour. And it's true. I do understand the power of meditating. And now I'm adding the power of prayer. So I share this with you, the power of prayer. And it's funny because even last night, early in the evening, I had mentioned to her, I said, can I show you something after? She's like, okay. And of course, as the beers progressed, whatever, she completely forgot about it. And I said, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. But I wanted to share with her the the power of prayer. I wanted to share with her the power of prayer. And because she's a good soul. She's a good soul, but she forgot about it, you know? And so I'm praying a lot, and I pray for others too. I'm definitely going to pray for that member who probably felt like his world collapsed, because obviously what the girl said, and he was there, and it was just like, whoa, that was just like train wreck, just not good. And I pray for Frank. I pray for a whole bunch of people. So that's what step 11 is. It's understanding through prayer and meditation to understand what's God's will for us, right? And that's about step number 3, but we're not going to get into step number 3. And giving us the power to carry it. I mean, every day I wake up and I'm like, all right, this Serenity Wins thing, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, give me a sign. Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Yeah, I believe so. So now we are sponsored by cruiserway.ca with the promo code SWD10 for a 10% discount on all your Canadian shopping. That's right. When you go online at cruiserway.ca and you do your shopping and you have the shopping cart, it's going to ask you, do you have a promo code? You say, I do. And then you put SWD10, all in capital letters. Well, except the numbers. They're not capital numbers. And you'll get 10%. So if you want to save $100, get $1,000 worth. If you want to save $1,000, just get $10,000. And you can easily they have for all the budgets. You want great furniture in your house, in your living room, in your bedroom, in the kitchen. They got a whole bunch of little decorating ideas. They could put a nice table. You have your guests over. You want to hype up the place. Yo, maybe get that lamp you got from Amazon, bring that color in. Man, you get some nice teakwood happening. And you save 10%. And you help out also Serenity Wins, because you know what? It helps us too. So, and then let me go for the promises, because you know what? The promises are also important, because it's kind of like, and it's true, they do happen. Sometimes they happen slowly, sometimes they happen fast, but they do happen. And so today, I want to read the first promise. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. Bam! Right there. A new freedom and a new happiness. Well, yesterday, I had the freedom to walk away from something that was off balance. Now, is it completely over? I don't know. Will it come back? Maybe. But I know that now it'll be on unified terms, not just on her terms. It'll be also on my terms. And if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I'm okay. I got JD with me now. So I'm like, you know what? And a new happiness. Yeah, I mentioned how these days I'm feeling solitude. I'm still happy. I like to use the word serene. I'm still serene because I'm not too high and I'm not too down. I'm just like, okay, I'm going along and I'm well. So now when I do feel those little downs, I'm able to understand them. So instead of running to the Haagen-Dazs, I'm like, you know what? It's going to pass. Do something. Become in the present moment. Maybe you could practice more drumming today, or maybe write or work on your project, but do something. And those are the 12 promises, and that's promise number 1. So finally, we're going to close with the Serenity Prayer. Dear God, give me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change those that I can, and the wisdom to understand the difference between both. So powerful. This podcast is not sponsored, associated, or affiliated with any official nonprofit organization such as Alcoholics Anonymous. That's right. This is all from the little creation inside my head. So, here we are. We're about at that point. Do it well for the self-respect. Do it with respect for the all of us. aim with the intention for humanity's love. That's it. I'm on my way out. Like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments. And I'll see you on the next episode. And I'm stalling a bit because I don't even have the stop recording button right there. All right, let's try that again. All right. Hey, like, share, record. And, oh, wait a minute. Recording setting. No, that's not. Wait, how come I'm not? Well, I'm stalling here because that was it last time. Okay, there we go. I didn't press the right button. Oh, I was almost there. I almost had like the perfect exit. Like, oh, I'm talking, and everything's good, and the people are TikToker there, and I'm listening, and I'm like, hey, do it for this and do it for that, and I didn't even have the recording button ready. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can do this next time. Maybe this will help me next time. Wait, hold on. This is what I want. Boom. Does this? Ah. Okay, now we know. All right. So, I'm just blah, 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 blah. Okay, so thanks for watching, and like and share. We got a Facebook, Serenity Wins with a Z, well spelt now. We got a YouTube channel, so go and check it out. We got a TikTok channel, and we got, Twitch. I don't even know what I'm doing with. I'm still waiting for Fred, the tech guy. Well, that's me. I'm Vilnoosh. No, not you, Vilnoosh, the tech guy. Oh, you're always talking about this Fred guy. When will I ever meet him? I don't know when you'll ever meet him, but we're working on that. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. I had a great time. Have a great week, and have a great 24 hours.